I'd like to introduce Gina Evans, who is the Community Outreach Director at the Minnesota Adult and Teen Challenge, and she's going to be talking about some of her experiences. Thanks, Gina.
Good evening. Like Julie said, my name is Gina Evans, and I do currently work as the Community Outreach Director for Minnesota Adult and Teen Challenge. My path there was really long, and I'm going to share a little bit about my life and how I ended up where I ended up with you today, just to give a little perspective as a parent. I have actually 4 kids. 2 of them are stepchildren, and the other 2 are mine. And statistically, they say 1 in 4 kids of an incarcerated father, and it may be mother too, I'm not sure about that, end up in prison themselves. Like, the statistics are really high for incarceration as well as substance abuse. So I come from a family that has a lot of addiction in it. Not only my parents were drug and alcohol addicts, my grandparents that I knew, and then my grandparents' parents as well, and that's as far back as I know. But generations of addiction, and especially alcohol. That's how I grew up, in a family where that was normal. Fights, cops being called, ambulances, all of that. I remember all of that from my childhood, waking up in the middle of the night, having my friends in the neighborhood ask me why the ambulance was at my house. Waking up in the morning after Christmas and holidays and stuff with holes in the wall, wondering what happened. The turning point for my mom was going to detox. She ended up in detox, and I have a brother that's 7 years older than me, and we didn't know where she was. We just woke up in the morning and she wasn't home, which was not normal for her. And so just growing up in the midst of that and having that be a normal life cycle. So my mom got sober, went to AA, went to treatment, and got sober when I was about 13, and unfortunately it was too late. I had already started smoking marijuana. In 7th grade, I got caught doing meth in the basement bathroom at my junior high school, and ended up in treatment for the first time. I was 13 the first time that I went to treatment. And so, to make a long story short, I ended up, from the time when I was 15 years old, I ran away from home and started hanging out with adults, and shot cocaine for the first time when I was 15. Committed my first felony before I was 16, and went to jail for the first time before I was 16 for theft of a motor vehicle and something else, shoplifting or something like that. And so from the time I was 15 until I was 30, everything that I did was about drugs and alcohol. I had very little conscience about how my choices and my criminal lifestyle of 12 felony convictions. I've been to Shakopee Women's Prison 3 different times. I spent 15 years committing crimes and running from my pain. And I ended up having 3 babies. I had my daughter when I was 19, and my son when I was 25, and my second son when I was 27. My youngest son I ended up putting up for adoption, and he went to live with another family, and that was probably the first thing that I had done in my life that was for someone other than myself. And that was when the change started to take place in my heart and in my life. And the last time I got out of prison, the last time I was in prison, I met a woman named Lori Strong. From what I understand, she's involved with the collaboration through Parenting with Purpose, and she convinced me that I could have a different life than that. And so my kids actually were adopted by a family through Catholic Charities. My mom wanted more for them than she was able to give them. My mom will be 70 the day my son graduates from high school. And 11 months into my kids' adoption, the people decided that they didn't want to be parents, and my kids ended up coming home, and that was the switch for me. I got out, went to Teen Challenge, and did something different with my life. And so my whole history for 15 years was about drugs and getting drugs and how to commit crimes so I had money to get drugs. I really honestly felt like for 10 years that I would either die with a needle in my arm or that I would end up spending the rest of my life in prison. I had like just resigned myself to that fact. You know, when I don't, Julie asked me to answer this question about how I supported my daughter, and I don't want to share like all of her story, and so I'm going to probably skip that. And if she doesn't take up too much time, if people have questions, I would love to talk a little bit more about that. But Danielle has a story of her own, and I think the way that I supported her and really helped for her life to be different was by getting a hold of my own faith and my own recovery and showing her that there was another way to do that. My parents did end up adopting my kids, and so my parents were a pretty good example to my children about that something could be different, that what I was doing wasn't normal. And I think that was the difference for my kids compared to me, is that what I was doing was not perceived as normal by my kids. So, you know, after I got sober, it's been 11 years, and thanks. When I got out of prison, I went to Teen Challenge and spent a year there really finding where my identity really lay, and that it wasn't in my past, that it was in my future. And so I went to college and got a degree in construction electricity, and then Teen Challenge approached me about, they got a grant for drug and alcohol prevention in the schools and asked me if I would come help them develop their program. And so we developed Know the Truth, which is a high school drug and alcohol prevention program in the state of Minnesota. We are, I mean, there's still DARE, but other than that, we're the only one. And we provide that service free of charge to the schools. The first year that we were in the schools, we saw 12,000 high school and junior high school students. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever, that I got to share my story with 10,000 young people about how important the choices that I was making as a 7th, 8th, 9th grader really were, and the people that I was hanging around with, and really to be able to invest my time and that seed, that my story and my life of pain and failure, that it was going to be used for something good, that these kids could hear a story that maybe would impact their choices in the future. And so this year, that program met with 60,000 high school and junior high school students in 120 different schools, and that's just the Twin Cities Metro and a little bit Duluth, Brainerd, and Rochester, because that's where our other facilities are, Teen Challenge. And we provide that free of charge to the schools. I don't know if I said that already, but so that was one of the questions that she asked is, how did I work with my daughter's school? And that was something that was really cool. I was able to go into my daughter's school, and both of them, the junior high when she was there and the high school, and do presentations about choices and gateway drugs and heredity, and to be able to share my journey with them. And so because of that, I had a very different relationship, I feel like, with Danielle's teachers and principal and stuff. The other really cool thing is that Danielle went to the same junior high that I went to and had some of the same teachers that I had. And so, you know, you look at like that sibling thing where, oh my gosh, that's Johnny's brother. Some of her teachers were like, good job, Danielle, way to not be like your mom. Because I was a terror in junior high and high school. So I had a pretty unique relationship with some of the teachers that she had because they saw a difference in me, and really, I think, encouraged Danielle to do something different and participate in school and be in theater. And I'll let her talk about all that. Should have let her go first. And so, did I deal with substance abuse issues when I was in school? Obviously, a lot of them. Like, that was my identity as a drug dealer and a skipper. And, you know, if there was trouble brewing at my school, you could guarantee that I was in the midst of that. That was my identity. Because I wasn't afraid of anything. I was so broken and afraid that I wanted everybody to think that I wasn't afraid of anything. And so that was my identity. And what are some of the ways that the school staff could have helped your daughter? I think that Danielle and I bring a little different of a perspective because of my choices, my daughter did something different. And again, I'm going to let her talk about all of that. But I know that the thing that I did, and the thing when you're looking at kids of incarcerated parents, that the one thing that we can do as a community and a collaborative of people that are concerned about this is that we can fix the parents. Because someone helped me in my life, because Lori Strong came into my life and encouraged me and convinced me that I could do something different with my life, I was able to make a change in my life that then is impacting the generations behind me. I think, we look at, and I'm not going to get on my soapbox no matter how much I would like to, but I think, we call it the Department of Corrections.
Hello?
Thanks. Now I don't remember what I was saying. Oh, there's just not a lot of correcting going on there. When I was in prison, and I know things have changed a lot since then, but when I was in prison, 15 people a quarter in the women's prison got to take a parenting class. 15 women every quarter, so 60 women a year got to take a parenting class. Reentry, all those they call it the Department of Corrections, and we're coming along. I think we have a voice, and things are different, and under the new administration, Tom Roy is just a fantastic man. I just love to work with him, and just things are changing. And so I think that the more that we can do for parents when they're in custody to make sure that they don't recidivate and come back into the system is what we can do for the kids of those people. Because somebody spoke into my life and helped me to change the trajectory of my life. And because of that, it changed the trajectory of my children's life and my children's children's life. And so thank you for being interested in this and understanding what a great need that it is, and being here on a Tuesday night at 5 o'clock to talk about how we can make it better. So thank you.